All right, so we are today entering sprint number 9, and as usual, we have this. Hey, what did you? How you doing? Well, um, okay. Does anybody feels like reading the reason behind sprint planning this time? 5, 4.
I'll do it.
Okay.
But I just had to finish. I was having breakfast, so okay. Now I can. Um, so why is the sprint valuable? The product owner proposes how the product could increase its value and utility in the current sprint. The whole Scrum team then collaborates to define a sprint goal that communicates why the sprint is valuable to stakeholders. The sprint goal must be finalized prior to the end of sprint planning. You know, I'm realizing we don't really have like one sprint goal. Like we're reading this, but we don't really quite have that. Okay. What can be done this sprint? Through discussions with the product owner, the team select items from the product backlog to include in the current sprint. The Scrum team may refine these items during this process, which increases understanding and confidence. Selecting how much can be completed within a sprint may be challenging. However, the more the team know about their past performance, their upcoming capacity, and their definition of done, the more confident they will be in their sprint forecast. How will the chosen work get done? For each selected product backlog item, the team plan the work necessary to create an increment that meets the definition of done. This is often done by decomposing product backlog items into smaller work items of 1 day or less. How this is done is at the sole discretion of the team. No one else tells them how to turn product backlog items into increments of value.
Cool. Thanks. So let's now dig into it. As usual, we'll just go through the past sprint first, and then you know, make our way up to this one. We have you, Gideon, here. Oh yeah, yeah.
But I was just gonna say, do we want to create some type of ritual process to establish a sprint goal? Since we kind of we do kind of lack one.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea just to like to have like an overall bucket or like primary focus.
Yeah, I think we can. So for this round, pretty much all sprints have had some form of goal, but we can definitely ritualize that or formalize that a bit more. So for instance, the first sprint of the grand round was on pre-work, was on marketing and setting up the round, and then we had 2 sprints. Actually, just one about the execution. And for this one, I was chatting with Gideon. The goal of this sprint would be pretty much finishing the round, so completing reports, yada yada yada, and then we have a few miscellaneous. But overall, the goal is to just mark the sprint as completed. But I'd be curious to hear. I have the sense that this is going to be on the lighter side, so we have a bit more room to discuss things. I'd be curious to hear if anyone has any ideas on ritualizing that.
Yeah, I guess my big thing is that when it comes to the sprints that is for specifically, we're in the middle of our grant round, but when we're not in our grant round, we're kind of not exactly sure what the sprint is looking like. Having a goal set before we get to this meeting would probably be something that we should do maybe even during the retrospective, even if it takes a little bit longer to do, just so we know exactly, we can take that, day to actually plan tasks that need to be done in order to accomplish that goal. But yeah, I think I have a hard time creating tasks based off of just kind of guessing a little bit about like what our goals are, and priorities are for the upcoming sprint. So I mean, I'm more concerned with the kind of process that we have for actually establishing the goal, and when we should do it.
If I can jump in, I like that, Nate. I like the idea of establishing future goals. Maybe we have a roadmap of goals lined up. And I like how Gideon read that description. The sprint goal is essentially an increment on the product. And so I'm interested in having a really well-defined product that these sprints are focused on. The product might be TEC as a regranter, TEC as a regranter agency. The product might be TEC the DAO, because this is tech coordination, or the product might be tech coordination, or the product might be quadratic funding rounds specifically, or TEC serving SME boosted quadratic funding for TE public goods. So I just want to say thanks, Gideon, for reading that description. That helps a lot. And I think this stuff can be developed over time too. I don't want to take too much time away from the process we have established, which I think NT's got a really good flow with too. So it's like an integration. I'll pass it back.
Yeah, this is really good feedback. I think we don't really look too far ahead in the future. But and that's actually one of the tasks I have on my plate for quite some time. But then the grants round came up. It's pretty much just convert the product prospectus into something more digestible and closer to a roadmap that we can guide ourselves with. So that's actually something I want to start working on for these, mostly next sprint, but to start doing some of that this spring as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Just want to add one point, which is that we went from a TEC that was very decentralized to one that kind of concentrated, became more centralized last year, like late last year. And so now what we're in the process of doing is opening that back up again. Now that we're kind of through the danger, we're not all the way through the danger zone because money is still tight, but we're starting to build some momentum back up again. So I think that, what our goal is to open up the strategy process more so that it's not just the coordination team driving the strategy anymore, but that we turn that increasingly over to this the TEC's advisory network. And so that's part of what, so TAM is defining kind of like what the structure of that is, and then we're going to be getting more into the process. And so I think between what you're doing, Isaac, in terms of like turning the project, the product or project prospectus into something that can kind of work within Notion, and then there's like this other process which is integrating the prospectus in with the advisory network. So those are like, I think, two aspects of what we've got to do going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I'll be hopefully having some updates, in the coming days, weeks. So I'll be very happy to be constantly receiving feedback as to how exactly do we convert um, the prospectus into a formal-ish roadmap. Um, yeah, cool. Okay, so let's get started. Then, um, here we have oh, shoot. Here we have Gideon first. For the past sprint, and we just have two tasks that were not completed. I guess I'll just pass it to you to give, um, I don't know, to just tell how the past sprint went and what's up with these two tasks.
I agreed to do the donor segments to just basically the next step on that. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But let's move it into this round. I mean, into this sprint. But basically, it's just taking what was in the marketing plan and putting it into Notion. Basically, two segments. One is the kind of the TE influencers, and one is public goods influencers. And then the team funding proposal. Well, I feel like that's more Bear is driving that with me. So Bear is taking the lead on that right now. And we're just continuing to make progress. I'll let Bear give an update on
that. Yeah. Okay. Should I go now? Are you done, Gideon, or should I?
Yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Then I might just wait for my turn, Isaac, or should I just talk about this task?
No, I mean we can actually go with you. So you have these two. We can start with this one, and then you talk about the other one. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so the first thing is that those two tasks, what I'm thinking or what I've been doing basically, it's to merge them, because a lot of the budgeting work has to do with the funding proposal, kind of like thinking about the remaining of the year and what are the needs that we have as a team and as a DAO to be able to fulfill all kind of like the essential operations. So that's why I'm thinking that I might delete that other task, the budgeting one, and I just already kind of like moved part of that, the spec of that task to this other task about the team funding proposal. So that's what I'm doing. And in regards with the funding proposal, yeah, I have some clear dates where I would like to have different kind of like goals completed. One of them being sharing it with the team. The other one also sharing it with the advisory group, go through this kind of like advice process for the proposal. So we have it on time ready to first post on the forum and then to be able to pass a vote and have the funds available on time before September ends, right? So here I have the date, September 3rd, for it to be posted, to be completed. That's kind of like the idea. And yeah, it just kind of like defines the different type of things that we should cover on it. Kind of like the team structure and any changes that we might be doing in regards with roles, in regards with people, in regards with kind of like the different areas that we cover as a team within the DAO, and then the work priorities, kind of like the things that we have been talking about that we want to focus on these coming months. That if you think about it, it's actually not a long time. So I don't think we should probably take much things. There are some things that have already been defined, like the next grant round and things like that. The OP migration and related things. So yeah, that's kind of like my plan. Work on it throughout this sprint, and yeah, that's kind of it. I would say also, like, if as the task is already here spec and people are able to take a look at it, feel free to also like leave any comments or any ideas that you might have. That can also definitely be helpful for me to incorporate into the actual proposal. So there's that for me, I think. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next one. We had Gideon, then Joseph. Well, Joseph's not here. So then there's me. Yeah, well, I was away for half the sprint pretty much. Um, and the community call, at first we chatted about having the fireside chat with the community call, but it did not happen. So I really didn't continue with it. But I can actually take on these for this sprint so that for September we have our first community call again. In I don't know, in a time slot that works for us every single month. Um, call for September. Okay. So pretty much it. That's it. Then we had Bear, who already went. Marathon Man, he's not here either. You have you here, Nate. I believe this is completed, right? I'll pass it to you.
Yeah,
Just to
it's
see.
kind of still in progress, I guess. Is it just the newsletter for grants? Oh yeah, that you can move that to done. It depends on actually how often we want to be sending out newsletters, the periodic newsletters. I know that we have the agreement with the Trusted Seed. Is that correct, Gideon? That they'll send all of our newsletters out.
No, we definitely don't have that. I mean, we need to. They've been very helpful in doing announcements for us, but they're not sending out our newsletter.
Okay. Yeah, so let's keep that one open for now. I'm gonna add some subtasks to it to actually get that solidified a little bit more in terms of how we're gonna go about it in the future. Have we talked to the Trusted Seed about any of it? I felt like I saw one newsletter come out, but I'm not sure if that was just kind of a general email blast versus a formal newsletter.
Do you mean from Trusted Seed? The only thing they've done a couple of announcements for us for the grants round, but other than that, nothing that I know about. And then obviously we've been sending email messages to the grantees. Maybe is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, I think that's what I received.
I would like to ask also if there has been any follow-up with the previous grant. I don't know if maybe that's something that has been tackled in other call and maybe I missed it. But I think there should be also follow-up mechanisms because we see a lot of like projects that can start and can maybe receive funding and maybe during the execution have any issue or something. So it's good also to have like follow up on the projects for the accountability also of how are the funds being distributed and also as the feedback and evaluation of this grants process.
Yeah, so with this issue, I'll put up I'll create a schedule for the newsletters. I think we should have probably one right after the grant round, just kind of reviewing the grant round. And I do like the idea of kind of giving updates on the projects that have been funded previously. and maybe some just general news within the token engineering community that are included within the newsletter. But yeah, we'll keep that into the sprint 9 and then move on from there.
And Bear, do you want to just give Juanca an update on the survey, the feedback?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, Juanca, we have this survey with a couple of questions in relation with the experience that the grantees had, more than in terms of accountability for how they're going to be using the funds. I think it's more on us on how to improve the program and the rounds and the overall experience. Yeah, if you're interested, I can always send you the link and you can take a look at it. But it was pretty interesting. Like last round, we sent it out. We had I think around 7 people answering, and there were like pretty insightful comments and insights. So yeah, that's something definitely that we are going to continue doing and keep working on.
Amazing. Yeah, I just I think I already made a comment on the side chat, but I think surveys are a cool way to engage people. Actually, I started participating in the TEC thanks to a survey that Libby ran. So yeah, I think it's a good way to receive feedback, not only from the grant from the grants, but also of people in the community, how they may be perceiving the things or what may be worrying them. Yeah, just that.
Yeah, that's actually like an interesting point, because even I started thinking about this since yesterday that we went through the retrospective and YGG was there, Octopus was there, and I think YGG has a project, but Octopus he I don't think he has a project in the round, but he was already kind of like providing good feedback overall, right? So I was just thinking on that, how could we take this kind of like feedback loop into the broader community rather than just grantees, because I think there might be like pretty interesting insights and ideas from the community in order to improve the program, right? So yeah, I might just take on that later and work a bit more on how can we make that a reality. I think that'd be interesting.
Nice. All right. Let's see. Well, Tom's not here. And she won't be for a few weeks, so I'll probably just move these to spring 10. Well, this is actually going, so I'll just put 10 and 8 in the advisory network. I'll move to the 10 as well, because she won't be here for any of the sprint 9. Cool. And then we have Sean. Yeah, this is still ongoing anyways, but I guess if you wanted to share anything about this past week, feel free to.
Thanks. Thanks for the space. Yeah, that's a really exciting project. I've been so happy to be able to focus on one thing. I've just been doing quadratic funding and nothing else. It's great. I'm excited because we have some widget designs. I want to get feedback from the team. I don't think in this call today, but maybe just soon. I'm going to meet with Enti on Thursday, and I think next week I'll probably be looking for a lot of feedback from this gang here. And so I got the sigmoid boost transformers, which we can apply to the TEC token holders. We can also apply it to the TEA credentials distribution if we want to do that. We got some widgets to play around with. And then in parallel, I am going through this paper called A Flexible Design for Funding Public Goods. This is by Vitalik Buterin, Zoe Hitzig, and Glenn Weil. And it's a pretty hardcore mathy paper, so I'm going through it really slowly and modeling it in Python as I go. And so this is all in the Aloha repository. You can track the results there. I'm working with this with Enti and also Rex. I met with Rex last week to get to the bottom of the TEA credentials distribution and the data set where that's coming from. It's coming through this Otter Spaces, which mints NFTs, and Rex is working on the Dune query to. There's one thing he just couldn't figure out. There was no mapping from. It was something like from the token ID to the IPFS address, something like that. So what he's going to do is get me all the IPFS addresses of each NFT badge that's been minted by the Academy. And from there, I can use a Python library to pull essentially the name of that credential, but any of the JSON data that's on IPFS, the name, the image, that kind of stuff, date created. And so I'll be able to match token ID to credential, which credential it is, and then we can get a full distribution over the TEA credentials. And we have these sort of generalized transformers that we can apply, like a linear distribution or a sigmoid distribution. So I've got two channels in parallel. I'm working on the TEGR1 dataset, looking at alternative ways to run the SME signal boost algorithm. That's channel number one. Channel number two, I am building a Python model, like a data science model implementation of this FDFPG paper. And it's all in the Aloha repository. And I'm going to check in with the team. Next week, I'm going to be looking for team feedback. And yeah, that's where it's at. I'll pass it back.
Cool, thanks. Actually really excited, and we, it's finally about time we use it, because next week we have to finalize results and make all the calculations. So we will see how it goes. Okay, now we may as well get started with the actual planning of this sprint 9. We have Joseph first, which is not here. Then it's me. So for me, I have the community call thing. And I have these 3 tasks down here are pretty much to finalize the round next week. So like send payments, which entails the calculation of the boost as well. Communications for the payment. So I don't know, like a quick email. Hey, grantees, thank you for participating. Yada yada yada, and I'll link to the explorer with the money. A forum report, something simple, just to let everyone know how the run went and results and all that. And then this playbook, which I don't think I'll get done this sprint, but I'll definitely make some good progress. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If anyone has anything, feel free to chime in. But this is pretty much my work for the next 2 weeks, or at least the things I have to deliver myself, right? All right, let's just move on. We now have Uver. You want to take it? Some of these we chatted about already, but
Yeah. So there's that, like the funding proposal. that it implies different type of work. Part of that work is that last task, the role tiering. I'm revisiting all the current roles we have, the current kind of like owners of the roles, and how is all that distributed across different kind of like areas of operation. I'm just reviewing all that in order to fit it into the funding proposal. So I have that as a separate task. And then I also have the impact tracker, that is just kind of like the report after the period of our last funding proposal ended in July, just to provide some progress and some results of this period. And then I also have the tech support documentation that I've been working on already with Rex, and there's also been some progress there. So hopefully we can get that one done during this sprint. Yeah, and that's kind of it.
Okay, cool. Now we have Tam here. She's not here. Well, we have this. I'm not really sure if this was completed. Was this completed? Check. We have to complete that.
Yeah, I might just get in touch with Nate, and we can sort that one out. I don't know, Nate, if you were able to do any progress on kind of like the Notion website documentation that you showed me. I think you said you were planning on including this there, but we can work that out.
Yeah, this is definitely on my list of this is immediate to do before the round ends, and so hopefully I'll have this Token Engineering Commons external facing Notion page ready to go, and so I'm going to try to get this done definitely before the end of the round.
Okay, good. And then we also have these, which we already chatted about before. Do you have anything else you are thinking of working this sprint?
Not immediately. I think there's, outside of the spaces that we're holding this week and the Notion page, which consists of a lot more than just the TEC, how to use TEC grants. I'm not sure. If anybody has anything else, please do feel free to add it.
Okay, let's move on, and after everyone has planned, maybe we can discuss a bit on what's next or what's in between this round and the next one. To see if there's some more work to do. Now we have you, Gideon. So we have these. Yeah, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, so the one, okay, so the funding proposal Bear's already talked about. And then I am starting to just take some of our learnings on the marketing and outreach, and just distill that down into a playbook that we can anybody can use, but so we don't forget. And then the community engagement process for TEC strategy. So this is basically, now that the Academy merger has been set aside, we're working with the advisory network on, and actually to start like the first round of advice, I'm going to take a lead on putting together a process for engaging the community on our strategy. and I'll be working with Bear and Livia on that. And so we'll be like the first round of advice process amongst each other, and then we'll take it to the advisory group, and then we'll take it to the coordination team and get feedback. Those will be like the first rounds of feedback, and then it'll just go up on the forum and get community-wide feedback. And the idea is to do this as kind of like a conversation, an iterative process. So start with like big picture and then get feedback as we go and then iterate, kind of like a conversation. So that's what that one is. And it's going to be I'm going to start it off in this sprint. My hope is that by the time I take off for Japan, the end of September, that this will be pretty far down the line and hopefully up on the forum and getting feedback.
Cool, great. Sounds good. Well, and finally, we have you, Sean, which we have already chatted about this tool. But pretty much, I guess, I'll just create one explicit task about calculate boost in QF results, and I'll do there as well.
Hey Isaac, while you're putting that in, can I want to throw out one other thing. So YGG, one thing that we need to figure out is your funding. We still haven't figured out what that looks like, and I feel like that's something that is.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for this sprint. Let's add it.
Okay.
Add a sprint item.
Yeah. So can you be the owner of that, and then you just call me in as
yes.
needed to yeah, okay. Okay.
Thanks, Gideon.
I also wanted to share that I think that the Safe Grants program is open, and I don't know if maybe that would be an opportunity to propose a grant, maybe to iterate on the dashboard, or to do some token engineering education, or I don't know. Just I will be sharing on the side chat, just in case this may sound interesting for the community. It's on Charmverse.
That's good. I actually think that now that we have YTG, there's a chance we can maybe work, we can do some cool experiments, cool technical experiments, analysis experiments for other projects that I don't really know how that would look like, but we can probably make use of that and of this new skill set in the team, and just gets funding from other places.
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, that maybe we could even do a partnership with the TA, and maybe just they can run also some special sessions, or I don't know. I am just giving ideas. It's just a grants program. Maybe however we see the best proposal can be. But yeah, it would be cool to participate in all these grants that are happening in the space. I feel maybe we shouldn't only think on distributing the funds, or also making funds through the utility of the token, but we can also offer services to other projects in exchange for revenue. They can be either educational for their cultural build. It's just how we've been like trying, how I've been trying to run Gravity to see a need and try and say, okay, we have a solution for that need. So let's share it with the people that that maybe needs that solution. So I know that there's so much that we can give from the TEC to other communities, but I think we have to be more clear and around what we can offer to those other communities, because we have a lot of toolings that are an example of a good practice. Like I know praise somehow falls more under the umbrella of like common stack, but praise is a great example of something that we used and was normal for us, but for other communities it's new and yeah, can be implemented, and they would, and it would be super useful. And like the whole concept of like bonding curves is still very new to a lot of people, and yeah, we are like advanced on that. So sorry, I will reject that.
Yeah, I think actually the QF tool is a great example of how can we build tools, build things that we actually need, but also serve other people. Um, so we may as well just think of other things that we need to get done here for us, but that we can also open for other people to use and keep you know in, in a way where we can either apply to grants, but on and or um keep growing the public perception of the TECs as a force of public good in the space. I see Gideon here that uh, share the our grant on Gitcoin. So yeah, if anyone here has not donated, I haven't yet. I'll do today. Um, just remember to donate to the foundation on the community and education, yeah, community and education round. So that's that. And okay, so we are 10 minutes away from the top of the hour. We actually have 2 hours of schedule, but we don't have to use it. To be completely fair, I came a bit unprepared because I was sick yesterday, and I'm a bit. Um, so I want to take these last 10 minutes to just discuss about some of the things that we may want to work on this sprint or probably the next one, but just what's next for us, what we should do in between rounds, and I'll also work on that this week and add a few things to the planning if needed.
If anyone is interested in the application process for the SAFE grant, I would be happy to support, and I will do it voluntarily.
Thanks. I'll check it out later. Some things. Oh, I guess I'll start myself if no one has any ideas. But some things I think we can work on in the interim is first, like getting a good pitch for sponsors. Ideally, for the next round, we you know we would have to we would have some more money, or maybe it's just the same 25K, but it doesn't come from our common pool. It comes from a sponsor. That'd be ideal, and I think that's attainable. I've seen, like, if you look at the featured rounds, um, most of them have a sponsor. Like most of them don't put their own money unless they are like big groups. Say Arbitrum, for example. Arbitrum is obviously going to use their own money. So that's that. Um, I'm pretty sure we can do that ourselves. And other thing I think I at least want to work on with YGG is analysis of conviction voting. I don't know yet how that would look like, but I think we owe it to the community to have something more formal, um, explaining the move in our experience with conviction voting, and especially us being, or at least trying to be, this Shilling point for token gearing. I think it has to be deeper than, like, it has to have numbers. It has to have um, actual data. And so that's something I believe we should be working on as well.
Yeah, I would love to work on conviction voting analysis. I'm really excited to do that. I'm getting a lot of inspiration from this paper, the Funding Public Goods paper, because they set up this general framework. Their model is they have a society, they have a community inside the society, and then they have a set of public goods and that are proposed by the community. And every citizen benefits from these public goods in some quantified way. And then they do all this math on optimality. It's really fun. And I think it could be applied to conviction voting as well. And I think a post-deployment analysis of conviction voting is very essential. And it is, like Juanco was saying, a potential for revenue, because there's a lot of organizations, there's a lot of DAOs that are looking for conviction voting implementation. And they could use data sets and research and analysis and tooling to do that. Yeah, so I'm picking up sponsor outreach for sponsors and these different kind of sub products or like product lines that we have inside of TEC, which we're doing this me signal boosting on QF. We've got conviction voting. We've got everything that's come out of TEC. I've been hearing this as kind of a theme in this call. And yeah, we have a lot of assets. It's like taking inventory of our assets and having a roadmap for productization. I think it's good that because you got to get one thing right before you scale. And I think we're doing the QF re-granting right. And I like that idea of doing it much better, getting sponsors, performing really well on the TC income, like grant ingress, token ingress into TEC, the TEC grant that's out there, doing really well on that. And I really like that Juanco volunteered to produce an application to the SAFE grants. That's really exciting. I think that should be supported. That should be I think we should make that a sprint item to track. If Juanco needs any support, or if anyone is happy to collaborate on that, we probably have a lot of resources that we can all pull into that kind of thing.
Sure, like count me in, and whenever a call is designed for that. Yeah, and there are so many opportunities in the space, and like on a Monday call on Giveth, they talk all about all the fundraising opportunities, and I think maybe if some people go there of this group, or we get contact from someone that assists that call, we would be able to not miss opportunities, because from what I've seen that in those calls, they are doing so many and participating in so many opportunities that at least one of them would work, and that way we would have both outreach to other communities, we would promote our own community, earn to execute certain things. I think it would be a good idea to think on applying to more grants.
Hey Juanco, what's the do you know what the time is on Monday for that call? Because I have two listings for the timing. Do you know what time it is?
It's 11 a.m. my time, so it should be 5 or 4 p.m. UTC. Let me see.
11. What's your time zone? Are you?
I am UTC -5, so it should be 4 p.m. UTC on Mondays.
Okay.
And like I am amazed by how many opportunities there are. They are even going to Ripple, BNB, Celo, Aave, so many like grants that it's so much information that it's easily missed, and yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna start going to those.
Yeah, we definitely need to put some eyes in there. But cool. So what I'm hearing pretty much is that we should either take care of some miscellaneous things that we have on our backlog, say product perspectives, but also uh, closing up the move from conviction voting with a proper analysis, yada yada yada, but also um, start to put some eyes into grants program and maybe try to come up with projects that are both useful for us but also are good enough to get a grant from, say, for whoever it is. I think that's good.
So I need to run right now to the Gitcoin shill space. Speaking of trying to raise money, yeah, please, if you haven't yet voted for TEC's grant, please do so. This is the one we've done really well in getting a lot of contributions for the grants in our round, but we've only gotten, I think, like 36 for the TECs. So that's an area where we need to get a lot better at. So if you haven't voted for us and you're going to do Gitcoin, please do so. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Thanks, Gideon. See you later.
See you guys. I think we can close it now and let's join the space.
Oh, I wanted to say one thing for
Nate. Go ahead.
Is Nate still here?
Yeah,
I'm here.
Can I send you a resource? I've got I don't know if this is what you were talking about earlier about how to use TEC, but I just put together some resources I'm going to send you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I looked into the environment manager, so thank you for that.
Oh, great. Python poetry. It's awesome.
Yeah. So
good stuff.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely down to work on this stuff with you. I'd like to learn a little bit more about what you're working on. So if you guys are setting up meetings, let me know.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Isaac.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Catch you
everyone.
later.